Hello, it's Jay here again and welcome to another tutorial. So in this lesson we're going to work on implementing the time of day temperature variance into our actual temperature. So let's begin, and we need to create two new variables, but only two, so it should be fairly simple. Let's come, and we want to create a season temp variance. So I'm going to put mine here where we have spring, summer, autumn, winter temp variance. We'll just say public float season temp variance. Let's close that line off into the comments, and we'll just say stores the season temp variance. And we're also going to create another one for the time of day. So we'll come below here, public float underscore, and I'm going to put TOD for time of day temp variance. Let's close that off. Stores the time of day temp variance. And we're just going to save that off there. And let's have a look. We're going to come to the void start to begin with. And actually, I'm going to put it here. It needs to be below this block. No matter where you actually put this, it needs to come below where we set a value based on random range in the void start. And we're going to say season temp variance is going to be equal to autumn temp variance, because that's the season I start in. And we're going to close that line off into the comments. So we'll say set season temp variance to equal autumn, and we'll just put temp variance on startup. And we can actually get rid of this line where we set the temperature temp out of the void start. Now, the only reason I can delete that line is because I'm starting a second before we actually change states, and we're going to put some more code into the day phases states. Now, if you've got yours set to begin at a different time of day where it's not going to change to a new day phase immediately like mine is, please don't worry. We're actually going to do that in the very next lesson. We're going to create a new function that's called once on when the game actually starts, and that will set everything up for us. And it will also provide us with an automatic temperature. So please don't worry if you haven't got your script set up the same as mine. Deleting that line will cause a problem until the very next video. It's a fairly simple fix, but it does require putting in a lot of code, but luckily we can actually cut and paste a lot of it, and it's just going to call that once when the game starts, and it's just going to set everything up. And it doesn't matter what phase you start in, what time you start, that will just set all the values up. And then obviously when things change, you'll get different variance values and obviously a different temperature. So with that all said, let's come, and I'm going to come to void update calendar days. And we're going to make some changes. And where it says if spring equals true, we set the temp variance for that season. And here we're going to change this to season temp variance is going to be equal. Yep, that's going to be the same. Then set, we'll change the comment, season temp variance to equal, and we can actually just copy that line and we'll paste it in for each of the if blocks. So let's paste it in there for autumn and finally for winter. So regardless of what season we are now in, it will always assign a value to a single variable rather than having multiple. So with that now in place, we're going to do the same for the time of day. So let's come to dawn, and it needs to come here after we set the temp variance but before we change the phase to day. So we'll say underscore TOD temp variance is going to be equal to the day temp variance. Very simple. Into the comments. So we'll say time of day variance equals day temp, and we'll just put variance in as well. Now, please note that we do not set it for the actual phase we are in. We set it to the phase we are changing to. In this case, we're changing today. So, and actually, before we get any more code in place, let's just come, and you can put this anywhere you like. I'm going to put mine just under the temperature manager, and we'll give this naming convention of void. Let's say calculate temperature. Open and close brackets. We'll open and close again. Come inside. Let's just copy a debug log in there. And we'll swap out the naming convention in the speech marks. There we go. And we'll come back down to dawn now. And what we're going to do is after that other line, we will now call that function calculate temperature, open and close brackets, close that line off into the comments. So we'll say call, and I'm going to put function. I'll just paste that naming convention in. And with that said, let's copy both those lines. And we're going to paste it into each and every one in exactly the same place. So in for day, we're changing to dusk. So that's what I need to change these to. So dusk, and we'll come to dusk and we're changing to night. And finally, we'll come to night and we're changing to dawn. And that's why we don't need to set the temperature temp in the void start, because we're going to actually set it within this function. So let's just come up and make sure that's saved off, and we'll come into calculate temperature. We're going to say if open and close brackets, and we'll put spring double equals true into the comments. If spring is equal to true, let's come below there, and now we'll set our temperature temp to be equal to our spring base temperature, so underscore spring temperature, plus our spring temperature variance plus our time of day temp variance, and we can close that line off. Let's break it up for commenting, and we'll put this here. Temperature temp is equal to, now in fact I'll just put set temperature temp is equal to the next line, spring temp plus temp variance plus also time of day temp variance. So let's just copy that block. We'll paste it in 3 more times. And I'm sure you guess what's coming now. We're going to change each one of these to the different seasons. So summer, summer, and summer here. Change it in the comments, and we'll paste in here, and in fact we only need to do that once. I just put temp variance, didn't I? So spring, summer, autumn is equal to true. We'll change that to autumn. And the comments. And finally, for the winter, and we'll change it here and here. So let's save that off, and I've just upped my starting hours to 6, and so we're just 1 second before 7 because that is my autumn start time. So let's downsize this, and we'll come to the script. We'll hit play. And let's just open up the console. We'll pause that there for a moment. So we should be in dawn, which it looks like we are. So let's have a look here. So there's our temperature temp. That's what our current temperature will change to. So let's have a look. Our autumn temperature is 10 plus. We're also going to add this number, which because it's minus, it's going to minus. It doesn't matter that it's a plus in code, just in case you was wondering. So that would then, if we come to the dawn temp variance, so that would actually give us 10 minus basically 7, which is 3, just under 7, and then just over 1, which gives us our current temperature temp here. So now both the time of day and the season temp variance is affecting our temperature, and we'll stop that there. So it's all working at the moment. Like I said, you're going to have a problem if you do not switch to another day phase immediately, because it needs to call the calculate temperature function when it does. But as I said, we're going to work on a setup function in the very next video, so all that will be fixed for you then, and I think we'll leave it here for now. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope to see you next time, and until then, as always, bye for now.